Alrighty, here we go. For me, it's not alphabetical order, but this is the beginning of the bees. My first bee plant. I don't know why I'm organizing these based on the common alphabetical order, based on the common English name. That's probably going to be the query that people will put in anyways. Maybe that's why I'm doing it, but I'm recording these out of order. Maybe they'll be posted in alphabetical order. None of that matters though. I guarantee you I'll get to like H and I'll just start doing anything. The Latin name is Arctostaphylos Uva-ursi, and it is, we call it Binekobiihns. So what that word is describing is it's one of those plant names that are acknowledging a special connection that plant has to another creature, of which I've been told, and I completely submit to this idea. It is absolutely outrageous that every single plant has a creature that it has a special relationship with, and the name of the creature and the name of the plant, that connectedness can be found within the names. So Bine is a spruce grouse. And just a little bit of a distinction here, ruffed grouse, we call them Baapaashki. And what that word is describing is Baapa is like when something is being pounded. Like a lot of people will call ash, and we pound ash trees to separate the rings of the tree to make thin wooden splints for baskets. There's another tree called Baapaashki or Baapaashki. That's another splinting tree that we would use. That's balsam fir. Or even a woodpecker is Baapaase. Bapa is when something is being pounded, and so ruffed grouse is the species of grouse that will drum with its wings. So I used to always think those were somebody's quad trying to turn on. And somebody was stalling when I was a kid, just walking around in the bush in Wiki. But that's the drumming that they do with their wings, and so that the name that we used to describe them, Baapaashki, that's what it's describing, and so Bine is a name that can be applied to all grouse, I guess, but I guess most specifically it's used to describe spruce grouse. Just in the communities that I've been to, and the language experts and ecologists that I get to spend time with, this has been Bine. And then when you get a little bit more further northwest, and then especially in and throughout Manitoba, they will be called Agask is the spruce grouse. But generally over here, we mostly call them Bine. And so Binekobiihns is this bird's berry. It's their favorite plant. So they have a really special connection to this plant. They're obsessed with the berries, and so we actually use those berries to mij makajiga, to take advantage of that creature's relationship or connection to that plant. And so that connection and that relationship is acknowledged in the name of the plant, Binekobiihns. It's a really, really, really common plant. It's an evergreen as well, so it's green all year. You can find it any time of the year, anywhere, and generally it's going to be ever bearing as well. That is, if the Bine does not get to all of the berries before you. And so this is a really amazing display or opportunity to understand those plant creature connections, because generally when we're talking about those plant creature connections, what is most strongly remembered is those that we used to hunt with. So for moose and deer, those that we used to fish with, to wash our nets with sturgeon and megos, the rainbow trout. And then but one of the things that we can sometimes forget between those animal creature connections is that it's not always mammals, or it's not always fish, or it's not always about food, but this projects outwards to birds as well. Birds have really special relationships to so many different plants, and this is an example of that. There's so many of those that we get to go through, yeah, Binekobiihns is the bearberry, Arctostaphylos Uva-ursi. This is also like one of the most amazing kidney medicines, the most amazing kidney medicine. We've used it for everything from interstitial cystitis to dialysis patients and all different types of stones. It's really a remarkable kidney medicine to help heal from the damages that diabetes has done. There's really just no singing its praises enough. It's always used in our smoke medicines too, to help motivate our lungs, to help bring up the pollutants that are in our lungs, to expedite your lungs' natural modality of healing, to make that all happen faster, and so to help get water out of your lungs. So we could use this like to just Pkwenezagan in our homes, to like smudge our homes, to keep our lungs always moving. And so you got to think about the like Anishinaabe life living here before, my house is fueled by the heat. To heat my house, I use propane, connected to the city, and there's no you think of Anishinaabe 500 years ago, the only way that you would heat your home is with fire. And with fire comes smoke, and that smoke accumulates inside of your lungs. And so a little bit of this utilized on a regular basis to help motivate and keep your lungs cleaning themselves at a faster pace, to prevent that from settling in the deepest, darkest depths of your lungs. So this is a really important medicine that is utilized like every single day. And so sometimes it's just put right in the pipe. And in fact, according to archaeology, the more of this that you look, when you're looking at and analyzing the plants that are, and the plant residual matter that's left inside of pipes that are found all over North America, this is probably the most popular or common plant to find in the largest quantities inside of each pipe. So this is a really, really important plant. One thing that I did want to say too is that a lot of people will call it a Pkwenezagan. Okay, so Pkwenezagan, what that word is describing is the mechanism by which Bearberry or Binekobiihns will work. So like Pakwan is a roof, and that roof protects you from the rain that's coming down. And so, to close the door, so whenever you hear that sound, bak, that's what it's describing, is there's a protective mechanism that's put in place, a covering or a barrier between you and something else. So this medicine being one of the most commonly used in all of our smoke medicine mixtures, this has a protective mechanism. But there is an acknowledgement, though, that Pkwenezagan is a mixture. Pkwenezagan is not just talking about the one thing. That entire mixture is designed to protect you or to cover you from something. So hence its use in our smoke medicine, or hence its use when we are hunting, to use it to protect ourselves from the animals being able to see us. So Pkwenezagan is a tool that covers you, protects you when you're hunting, and that is a mixture that's made up of 35 different plants. It's not just the one thing. So Pkwenezagan is to cover with the intention of protecting, I guess. But it's important to know that Pkwenezagan is a mixture and is not just describing the one plant. This smoke medicine mixture, which is generally 35 different species of plants all mixed together, you use all different types of barks and you mix it all. What's interesting about this Pkwenezagan is that when it's all reduced, when that medicine is created, that giant mixture, you cannot really positively identify any of the plants that are in there. It's just a gray, grayish, brownish mass of like this kind of fluff, just matter, except for Bearberry, because the proper processing technique to adding Bearberry to that smoke medicine, or adding Binekobiihns to that smoke medicine, is you just crush it. You don't pulverize it like some of the other things. You just crush it. And when it's just crushed and you're looking at this giant mass of just grayish, brownish mixture of 35 different plants, the only actual plant that you could positively identify by looking at everything all together all at once would be Binekobiihns. And so what people will say is, here's Pkwenezagan, and you'd look at that mixture and you'd say, hey, there's I know that plant. And then when you're walking around outside, you say, hey, that's what was inside of Pkwenezagan. And then eventually that turned into, hey, look at that plant. That's Pkwenezagan. And what you're literally calling that plant is a mixture. So the same mistake happens with Kinnikinnik. Kinnikinnik being a Lenape word that is describing mixture as well. According to the Lenape folks that I've reached out to, it just means mixture. And so the same mistake is being projected onto Kinnikinnik. But you get Nishnaba looking at this plant and saying, hey, look, Kinnikinnik, or is that Kinnikinnik? And it is, but it's not. The name of this plant is Binekobiihns, talking about that special connection to that bird. And Kinnikinnik means mixture. Pkwenezagan means mixture. And so one of the reasons why I really wanted to create a resource like this is to look at all of these different plants and identify some of these mishaps and mistakes and correct them, to give us the opportunity to be able to say, hey, I know what this is. This is Binekobiihns, and the reason why it has that name is because it shares a really special relationship to Bine, the spruce grouse. And if I understand that connection and that relationship, my opportunity to live in this part of the world is enhanced, because to be able to access this important food source, I could take advantage. I could mijmakajige and get the food that I need to survive in this part of the world much easier. So again, if you wanted to learn more about this, I have full-blown, like especially with the kidney issues, healing the damage done by diabetes. These sessions you could get on our Patreon, as well as going through each of these plant creature connections. And one of the things that I wanted to say too is, like, when I go through these, I'm not just, pulling this out of thin air or just repeating what I've heard. For everything that I teach, and I have to be able to have witnessed it or seen it. So I'm never going to share connections that I don't have experience with. And so there is something really special about Binekobiihns and Bine, and with all of those other plant creature connections, and with all of the kidney medicine that I talk about. These are all experiences that I've had and that I'm sharing, as well as, a way to kind of validate this with some of the science that has been done preclinical, and not very strong science, but science nonetheless, I guess. But what we have is, just thousands of years of anecdote and history of utilizing this as a source of medicine and as a connection. And so understanding the connections that this plant has to be able to enhance our ability to live here. So really, really important to remember and understand the names of plants, and to recover them, and to understand why we call it Kinnikinnik and why we call it Pkwenezagan. So Binekobiihns, Bearberry, or Arctostaphylos Uva-ursi, a medicine that's used to create Pkwenezagan and Pkwenezagan and Kinnikinnik. Na, čemigać. Mama.